Hello and welcome to another video from Menace Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that's now fairly old, has become incredibly collectible, and is now becoming harder and harder to find, especially in this mint sealed condition. We are looking at the 2002 release by Hasbro from their Star Wars Attack of the Clones series of action figures. Although this particular action figure is not actually from Attack of the Clones, it is from the first movie in the prequel trilogy, which is the Phantom Menace. But when Hasbro released the figures for the Attack of the Clones, which was the middle movie, obviously, they also threw in some figures that didn't relate to that movie. So there was some prequel figures that related to the Phantom Menace. There was also some figures that related to the original trilogy, but they were all on this particular Attack of the Clones card, and they were in that particular series. Now, as you know, the prequel trilogy was a prequel to the original Star Wars trilogy, so it was set before A New Hope or the Star Wars, the first movie. And it follows the life of young Anakin Skywalker through the three movies up to how he becomes Darth Vader, and also how the Sith destroy the Jedi, and that run through the three movies. So the first movie was called The Phantom Menace. The second movie was called The Attack of the Clones, and the last movie was called Revenge of the Sith. A little bit of trivia for you here. The cost to make all three of those movies was $344 million. And at the box office, it netted $2.526 billion for those three films. So a tidy little profitable sum there. Anyway, let's not digress too much. This is the action figure in front of us, or this is the item in front of us. And this particular one is of Teemto Pagalies, who was one of the Podracers in the Phantom Menace. And this is the card it comes on, and it says at the top, it's got a warning, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3 years, ages 4 and above. And it says Star Wars, and you've got, I'm assuming that's Anakin holding a lightsaber there, but I could be wrong. Could be Obi-Wan's hands holding a lightsaber. But it says the Phantom Menace, Teemto Pagalies, Podracer. And if I just lift the card up slightly, you can see you got the Hasbro logo in the bottom right-hand corner. And if I just turn it to the side, it's got Teemto Pagalies Collection 2. So it's the second collection from the Attack of the Clones series, and it is based on the Phantom Menace. Okay, that's the front of the card. Let's spin the card around now, and let's have a look at what we got printed on the back. Okay, so I've turned the card around, and this is what we got on the back. And again, at the very top, it's got the Phantom Menace, and it says Star Wars. After rescuing Queen Amidala from the impending invasion of Naboo, Jedi apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi and his Jedi master Qui-Gon Jinn discover Anakin Skywalker, a 9-year-old slave unusually strong in the Force on Tatooine. The heroes return to Naboo, where Anakin and the Queen face massive invasion forces, while the two Jedi fight the evil Darth Maul and realise that the invasion is the first step in a sinister scheme by the dark forces known as the Sith. So Teemto Pagalies, he's number 2 out of 46, 45, and is proud of his new cycling electromagnetic stabilizer. Teemto Pagalies is entering his barely tested Podracer in the Boonta Eve Classic, believing that it will give him the winning edge. And there you can see images of Teemto with his Podracer apart and then in together. And it says press a button to open Spider Droid legs. So you press it, the Spider Droid opens up. And then there's other figures in the series here, which is Elephant Man with fangs, which is the Fan's Choice figure number 3. And you've got Teemto Pagalies Podracer there, and you've got one of the Jedi Masters there, I can't quite see his name because it's got a sticker over the top there, who was the importer of this particular card at the time. It says collect them all, and at the bottom it's got product and colours may vary. Poses shown may require additional support, and it's 2002 Lucasfilms Limited, copyright information all at the bottom there. And more figures coming soon, and you've got the relevant web addresses there. www.starwars.com, www.starwarskids.com, kidsgot.com, and www.starwarshasbro.com. Star Wars logo and Hasbro logo on the bottom there. Okay, that's the back of the card. Let's spin the card back round to the front and let's have a good look at the item itself. Okay, so I zoomed in on the figure itself, and there you can see Teemto. Now, I mean, he's an alien. He's a little boy alien, just like Anakin. You couldn't really get his detailing wrong because of the way he looks. It really couldn't be got wrong. There's no great facial features to look at. He is just, well, he's exactly what he looks like there on the figure. That is exactly what he actually looks like on screen. So, yeah, I mean, nothing to say about that, really. He's, and again, a nicely detailed figure, all with the relative detailing as he has on the, as he was in the actual movie. And next to him there is the Spider Droid. So you tap the button at the top and that releases the legs, and there you can see his pod engine just below there at the bottom, and just there you can see the image of the what was happening on the actual screen at the time. If I just bring that image forward, yeah, so you can see Teemto there, which is a nice little image of him from the movie there. And as you compare it to our Teemto, I suppose the mouth is not quite right, but otherwise it's a very good image. And there is a nice detailed view of that stabilizer, which he fits to his Podracer when he enters the race, as I say. And there is the Spider Droid, the mechanic that helps him at the top there. Okay, so that is the figure. Next question you're asking me, how well did these figures do back in 2002? Well, let's have a think. I mean, these were the middle, it was the middle film. And the merchandise for the middle film is never as good as the first or the last movie. If it's in a trilogy, of course. So the merchandise for Attack of the Clones always tends to get a little bit overlooked because, as I say, it was the middle. It's like a gap filler, the middle movie, really, because you could quite easily skip the movie if you wanted to, and just go from the first one to the third one. But there we are. That's my opinion. I mean, I still think it was a great film, but you could skip it and you wouldn't really lose too much of the story, I don't think. But anyway, so merchandise for the second movie was never going to be as much as the first movie. They absolutely flooded the market with everything Star Wars when the Phantom Menace came out, and they did the same when the Revenge of the Sith came out 3 years after this. So the middle movie didn't really get as much merchandise as, well, it didn't get anywhere near as much merchandise as the other two films, but even so, they did produce a fair amount of figures. There was a few different collections. But the quantities were nowhere near the amount that was produced for the first and third films. So, but even so, the figures did do rather well. They all sold out. Well, I won't say they sold out. They took a while to sell out, but they did eventually sell all the figures. And with all of these figures, they're all run in limited quantities anyway. So eventually they're all going to sell, and they're all going to become collector's items because they're only run for a very short amount of time. And for this particular one, it's in the middle of the two films, so it was only run, the figures were only run during that short stopgap before they went over to starting to produce the Revenge of the Sith figures. So yeah, they've done okay. Not the best lines, I would have said, and not the biggest quantities were produced and sold, but they still, I still think they're a very nice range of figures, and they're great collector's pieces. Okay, let's move forward 23 years to today's date, which is 2025. So, do these figures come up very often on the platforms nowadays? And the answer to that question is not very often nowadays. They did used to. You did used to see a colossal amount of these figures on the platforms, but I suppose as time's gone by, and with the quantities not being as big as the other two movies, they've just, obviously, whatever's gone up has been sold and gone, and there's not many left for people that are selling them. So no, they don't really come up very often. You do get a lot of loose figures on the platforms from the same series, from the same collections, but a new sealed condition, certainly not in the UK. There's not a tremendous amount that appear on the platforms. Not sure about overseas, on the overseas platforms, but certainly on the UK market, not a great deal. But you can pick the figures up individually, without the packaging, and usually without the accessories as well. So if you wanted a Teemto figure, you could probably find him loose on one of the platforms. But if you wanted the whole collection, the whole set like you got there, and if you wanted to keep it in the pack, then they don't come up that often. And also, as I say, always be careful if you're ordering from a platform, because a lot of them use stock photographs, and what you see is not always what you are ordering. So just be very careful. Now, we at Menace Touch, we do not believe in stock photographs. So on our website, what you see is what you will be purchasing. And this particular item is now currently available to purchase on the Menace Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, or you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Wars items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful Star Wars Teemto action figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.